Welcome back to Fixing Furniture. Today I'm going to walk you through how to repair drawers on this antique desk. This desk has been used so much that I've never seen drawers this worn out before. When I pull out the drawer and try to close it, the front of the drawer is hitting the bottom rail here. I've also got two locks on this that are missing. So I've got some brand new mortise locks here, and I'll show you how I install those. I'll be using a new technology on this antique desk to make sure that these drawers don't wear out like this again. Stick with me, I'll show you how it's done.
As a furniture repair business, we're opening the doors to our workshop to show you the tools and techniques to repair furniture.
The front rail here, you can see this has been broken off.
We give you tips to make your repair projects easier. Let's get into the workshop and start fixing furniture.
Sponsored by Kennedy Hardware, offering restoration hardware for antique furniture. If you're a subscriber to our channel, you'll recognize that this is a new workshop for me. I'm really excited about this space. This is my hand tool room. I've also got a new machine room across the hallway. And I've got a garage that I can convert once it gets warmer outside into a workshop as well. So it's exciting times to be able to move our business here to a town called Perth, Ontario. If you're interested in seeing how we moved our business and how we set up these workshops, check out our videos on home improvement woodworking. So the first thing we're going to do here is pull out the drawers and inspect the wear on these to understand what's happened over time. Now if we look at the drawers here, these are made out of pine, and pine is a softwood. The drawer runners in here are pine as well. We've got hardwood here. But because we've got softwood running on softwood, it really wears out over time. So what we'll do is take some measurements to understand how much material is missing. If I measure at the drawer front here, we've got 3 1/8. If I move down here, we've only got 3 inches. So the wear has taken off 1/8 of an inch here. And because this is worn so much, it's actually started to wear down at the bottom of the drawer, and that shouldn't happen. It looks like about the same amount of material has worn off the runners on the inside of the desk. Let's take a look. This is where the wear starts here, and it's actually formed a lip. So there's a groove here that I need to repair. You can also see the groove on this side, and here, look at all this dust. This is from wear. If I bring the camera down here, you can see the channel that's been worn out. As I mentioned before, I've never seen drawers this worn out before. The challenge is dealing with the drawer runners. Because they've worn uneven, I can't just take a thickness of material and glue it on, because there'll be uneven humps. Then I'd have to plane it, and planing that inside the carcass of this desk would be extremely difficult, if not impossible. So what I'm going to do is repair the drawer sides at the bottom, and then see how they operate in there, and if everything goes well, I'll add a new piece of technology in here to prevent further wear. The first step in repairing the drawer side here is making sure we've got a flat surface so I can glue on a piece of material. You can see just how uneven the surface of this is, so I need to flatten it out with the joiner plane. Now I've got a backsplash on my workbench here, so it allows me to put down a piece of plywood, and then I've got something to secure the piece, and now I can plane it. Now because I store my plane flat, what I need to do is extend the blade, because I retract it when I put it down so I don't damage it. So I'll just do this by feel. There we go. So what I want to be doing is taking some off the back here to eventually work my way back to the front here and get this in one surface that's flat. This is more challenging than I thought. This part here has worn down and this is raised. So my plane is riding on that, which isn't allowing me to get flat. You can see on this side here, it hasn't worn. So this is what I need to eventually get it to, but there's a slope that's happening here. So I need to take that out. So I'm just going to go across grain here, and I'm going to have to do this by eye. So I can glue in a piece of wood here, and we've got more material. It's getting closer, but I'm not quite there yet. I worked it down with a few planes, but now it's flat and it's ready to add on a new piece. Now I'll do the same with this side, and I'll do the same with the other drawer as well. If you're curious about the planes I'm using, this is called a jointer plane. It's for jointing boards, so you can glue them together. The plane I've got up here is a smoothing plane, and this is called a rabbet plane. It's unique because it doesn't have sides on it, so you can get really tight into corners. What I'll do now is go into the machine room, cut some strips of pine here, and then we can glue them on. This is the new machine room. I've still got unpacking to do, but I've got enough ready here that I can find the parts that I need to cut material. I'll cut some pine strips 1/4 inch, I'll glue them onto the drawers, let them sit overnight, and then we can fit the drawers. When I did the glue up yesterday, I ended up having to move to the kitchen. The workshop, I had a heater in there all day and it only got to 6 degrees Celsius, so I've obviously got more work to do in the workshop. This is the kitchen of our home, and this will be an eventual renovation we show on our home improvement woodworking channel. I'll finish taking the clamps off of these and then we'll get back to the workshop. Well, it looks like things have warmed up a little bit overnight. The temperature is now 8 degrees Celsius. The first step in fitting these drawers is removing the excess material I've got on here. I've got an overhang on the side here I need to take off, but the way I've glued this on, I've got a thicker front than I do with the back. So I'm going to trim off the bulk of this material on the table saw, and then I can refine it with the hand plane. Now, to trim off the sides of the drawers, I need to take off my blade guard, and if you're operating a saw without a blade guard, you need to make sure you're using a riving knife. If you're operating a saw that doesn't have one of these, I recommend upgrading. The riving knife is a simple device, but I'll show you why it's so important. What it's doing is it's preventing this wood from wanting to cross into the blade. And at the front here, the blade is cutting down, so it's a very controlled cut. But back here, if this wood were to get in contact with here, it would cause kickback. And that's sending this piece of wood back at the operator at a very high speed. And if you've got your fingers around here, they can drag them across the blade. So a riving knife is what you find in modern table saws. So if you've got an older table saw, I really recommend upgrading it. Here in the hand tool room, I'm going to use the corner of my bench to support the side of the drawer. So I'll just put it over the edge like this. And then the back of the drawer here actually helps hold it in place as well. And I've still got a lot of material at the front of the drawers here, but I want to see how it's going to fit at the back. So I'll put this in here. So I can get that in about 5 inches. But what I need to do is start planing down the front edge here. On this side here, it should be right at 0, so smooth with it, maybe a little bit protruding, just to give it the lift that we need from the wear that's on the bottom. I'm going to use my jack plane for this. It's meant for taking off bulk of material. So I'll just start at the front here and start working my way back. See, it's free here, it's tight here, so I need to do some more planing. Okay, it's a little snug there at the front. And there's a spot right here that seems a little tight. There, that's a good fit. Okay, so that means I don't have to repair the drawer runners, but what I will be doing is sealing with shellac, and then I've got a special tape I'm going to be using to prevent this wear from happening more. What I'll do now is move on to the mortise locks. Furniture locks can be a confusing thing. What I've got here is a half mortise lock, and what that means is half of it is visible and half of it is mortised into the wood or cut into the wood. Now, in order to find out what size lock you need for the piece of furniture you're working on, you need a reference chart, and Kennedy Hardware has one on their website. Let's take a look at the opening that I've got here from the old lock. So this dimension here is called the thickness, so I need to figure out how thick it is. And then here, there's a plate that covers across here, so I need to know the dimensions of that plate. And then the other critical dimension is where the key is coming through the hole here. So if I put this in here, you can see that circle in there, that's where the pin location is. So the pin location, the plate, the thickness, and then you need to know whether you've got a right-hand lock or a left-hand lock. I printed out this chart from the Kennedy Hardware website to help me decide what size lock I needed. I started off with the size of the plate. The width I've got is a 2.5 inch. So a 2, for example, won't work. Now, if I look at the thickness, there was only one thickness that meets my need, and that's the 3/8. So it's the S20L or the S20R. Now the L and the R refer to left and right. And these locks are meant to be used on doors and drawers. So if I throw the bolt here, this is the right, and it refers to a door. So we're looking at the door, this is mortised on the back. The hinge location's on the right here. So this is a right lock, and then there's a left lock. Now for our application, we don't need that because we're doing it in a drawer. So the way to look at this is where the bolt location is relative to the key. So here I've got a bolt location on the right, and that lines up with what I've got on the desk. These are high quality reproduction locks made in England. I'll leave a link in the video description, as well as a link to Kennedy Hardware, our sponsor, and you can check out the other type of locks they have available. The plate on the new lock is slightly wider than the old one, so what I need to do is locate where I need to cut the mortise. So put the key in the keyhole, put it in the pin, bring it back here, move it side to side. There's just a little bit of play there. I'll mark the edges here, and then chisel out the mortise. The lock is fitting now well, but unfortunately the key isn't. I have to lift up the lock for it to fit. So I just need to take off a little bit of this opening at the bottom here to allow the bottom of that key in, and then we'll be good to go. So now I can secure the lock with the 4 screws, and then what I'm going to do is stain these new pieces of wood here to match the rest, put a coat of shellac on the bottom, put a coat of shellac on the runners, and then we can install the tape. If you'd like to learn how to do stain matching, it can be a challenging thing. We've got resources on our Fixing Furniture community that can help you understand how to get great results and disguise repairs when you're working on furniture. We do live streams. We've also got a number of reference sheets that you can download and help you as you learn about furniture repair. I've now got 2 coats of shellac on the drawer runners and the bottom of the drawer sides. The reason that I've sealed them off is so that I've got a surface that I can stick this tape to. This is ultra high molecular weight tape. I'll put a link in the video description. It has a high abrasion resistance, which means it's going to prevent these drawers from wearing out, but it also means it's going to make them run silky smooth. So what I'll do is cut this to length. I can peel off the backing as I put it in place. I'll show you how I do that. So I start by peeling off just a little bit at the front here, and what I'll do is work from the inside, get this lined up close to the front here, and then what I'll do is peel it as I put it in place. This tape is a wonderful solution that will help antiques like this last for years to come. I hope you enjoyed this episode and learned a few new things about drawers and drawer hardware. If you'd like to subscribe to our channel, make sure you turn on all notifications. That way you'll get notified every time we publish a new video. We've got over 100 videos on our YouTube channel, so I'll leave you a playlist here that you can check out a few more. Thanks for watching Fixing Furniture.